You are constantly being warned of how sitting for too long can be harmful to your health. But just how dangerous is it? You feel that momentary guilt after a whole day of sitting at your desk and following it up with a binge-watching session on your couch at night. But you rarely go past that. Sitting makes you use lesser energy than you would while standing or moving around. Having a job where you are sitting in front of a screen most of the time or behind the wheel can have the same detrimental risks of obesity and smoking. One particular study published in the Annals of Internal Medicine found that adults who sit for prolonged periods of time, or 1 or 2 hours at a stretch without any movement, have a higher risk of death than adults who spend the same number of hours sitting but in smaller spans of time. We tend to think of sedentary behavior as just the sheer volume of how much we sit around each day, said Keith Diaz, Ph.D., Associate Research Scientist in the Department of Medicine at Columbia University Medical Center (CUMC) and lead investigator of the study. But previous studies have suggested that sedentary patterns, whether an individual accrues sedentary time through several short stretches or fewer long stretches of time, may have an impact on health. The study found that more than 3/4 of the participants' waking hours were spent being sedentary. That would clock in about 12 hours a day of not being active. This study adds to the growing literature on how dangerous long periods of sitting are for our health, and underscores a growing awareness among clinicians and researchers that sitting really is the new smoking, said Dr. Monica Safford, co-author of the study. There are various ways in which it can impact your health, which are as follows. 1. Death. Over the span of the study, it was found that the individuals who spent the maximum number of sedentary hours, about 13 hours a day, and mostly spent about an hour or an hour and a half straight without a break, had a twofold increase in death risk, as opposed to those participants who spent the least number of hours being sedentary and the shortest sedentary bouts. So if you have a job or lifestyle where you have to sit for prolonged periods of time, we suggest taking a movement break every half hour. This one behavior change could reduce your risk of death, although we don't yet know precisely how much activity is optimal, Dr. Diaz said. 2. Back and neck. Having to sit in a chair for most of your day affects your spine, making it sore, stiff and sometimes even hurt. Although sitting barely feels like any effort, it can cause unwanted stress on the muscles present in your back and your neck. Remaining in this position tightens up your hip flexors and puts pressure on the muscles of your buttock. What's more is that when you are sitting for too long, it's likely that you start slouching or leaning forward into your monitor or your phone, and this makes matters worse. While slouching might cause the ligaments in your spine to stretch more than what is tolerable, bad posture can put unhealthy pressure on your spinal discs. When you are regularly staying tied down to a desk and monitor, it tires your body and accelerates the wearing out of your spinal discs. Over time, you might experience frequent pain in your back and your neck. Make sure you are sitting in a proper, healthy posture. 3. Organs. Sitting for too long during the day leads to lesser fat being worked off, and your blood flow slows down. This makes it easier for fatty acids to clog the heart, leading to medical conditions like high blood pressure and cholesterol. Apart from increasing your risk of heart diseases, it also affects your pancreas and causes it to produce excessive insulin, which is not appropriately used up by cells that are sitting idle. With disproportionate insulin being produced in your body, it can lead to the development of diabetes or other diseases. Another extreme effect of sitting for long is cancer, such as colon cancer, breast cancer, and endometrial cancer. When there is healthy movement during the day, your body is better able to produce natural antioxidants that fight against cell-damaging and cancer-causing elements. 4. Muscles. When the muscles in your legs are not being used, they begin to grow weak. And when your leg and glute muscles are jeopardized, it increases your risk of facing injuries. Your glutes also start getting used to doing nothing, and this hampers the way you walk and move. The sitting epidemic stops people from extending their hip flexor muscles, and this makes them become shorter and tighter. Over time, it can change the way you move and reduces the extent of certain movements. It has been observed that this reduction in the hip's ability to move becomes one of the main factors behind older people falling. 5. Legs. Sitting for too long can limit the proper flow of blood. This increases your chances of developing varicose veins in your legs, or spider veins. This leads to your veins becoming visibly swollen. And over time, it can lead to more harmful conditions like blood clots. When your legs stay active and are regularly supporting you as you walk or run, they stay healthy and it stimulates the lower half of your body. This also strengthens your bones, making them grow thicker and increasing your bone density. These are important factors that could reduce your chances of developing bone conditions or even osteoporosis. 6. Brain. Apart from all the damage that is caused to your body, sitting for too long also takes a toll on your brain. When you are not active for too long, this slows down everything in your body, including your brain activity. When you're moving, it makes way for both fresh blood and oxygen to pump all the way to your brain. This produces chemicals that stimulate brain activity and your mood. It is also said that the risk of developing symptoms of depression and anxiety is higher in people who sit for too long. Staying physically active not only keeps your body fit but also has effects on your mental health as well.